Hey everybody, what's going on today? As usual, I was like starting and my mic's acting kind of weird, so let's fool with that. Hopefully it's okay. Hopefully it's all right. Um, as per the usual, I'm not quite ready. I'm trying. I even put things back an hour today, and I'm still not ready. Like never fails. I start doing things and just like kind of lose track of time. I keep looking at the wrong cameras. I have too many cameras here. Our retro gaming. Yeah, we're gonna try. We're gonna try. I I haven't gotten a chance to mess with it, because it kind of irritates me. I've had all the stuff for like several months, and like I got my capture card here, which is hooked up. Let me put my camera away before I f it up. Um, I have my long ass HDMI cable over here to a TV like in the corner because I wanted to hook my third monitor up here to the retro AVS, but I gave away the one adapter I needed like a few weeks ago. Because one time a day I had tons of these. I need a DVI to female HDMI, and I do not have one. And I am fairly certain I had like 6 of those like a year ago. This is the console that's sitting here. This is called a retro AVS. This is like a hardware clone of a Nintendo NES. It even has like the buttons are actually new old stock Nintendo buttons, which is kind of cool. But there you can see like the branding sort of retro AVS. But it's not an emulator. It's an actual like hardware clone. And then I have a like a dumbass, I bought one without a label. But this is a real, like a genuine EverDrive N8 with a little SD card that has basically, I think literally, excuse me, every Nintendo game ever made, and then some. There's like every licensed and licensed game, every arcade game, a bunch of the Japanese releases, a bunch of like custom ROMs, all kinds of crap on there. But no, these things are really cool. They're still a little hard to get. I've been tempted to sell mine because I paid like $170 for it, and I've seen combos of this console with the EverDrive bring like $400 or more on eBay. Because I don't know, apparently they're still not keeping up with demand with manufacturing. I think there's a lot of people that don't really realize that's a thing. 8-bit, yeah, hell yeah, man. But what's up, everybody? Josh, Mac, Gusner, as always, Logical Waste, K-Bear. What's up, everybody? Dickie Bird. It's hard to say that name without smiling a little bit. But we're gonna try it. We're gonna try. We're gonna do that in a little bit though. There's a few other like there's a couple minis I want to tend to first, which shouldn't take that long. That'll probably take less than 20 or 30 minutes, but I need to do it today. Josh is finally building his Prusa i3. Welcome to the club, man. Hopefully it all goes well. If you've probably seen, like, I streamed my whole build process, but that feels like a lifetime ago. I wish I would have recorded that video differently. I almost wish I had, like, a second machine to go through the assembly process again and give people some more usable advice than I had the first time around. Hey, what's up, Calagaro? 5 hours in. Yeah, if you saw, like, my videos, I think it took me, like, 10 or 12 hours altogether, but that was with me kind of dirtling a bit in some places and then, you know, getting distracted with chat and stuff. Been doing some airfix? What is that? What is this, Dickie Bird? But yeah, I got most of the. I think I have everything I need. Uh, have my genuine. I have like so many of these. It's kind of ridiculous. I've got because the one piece I was missing was an HDMI splitter, and I finally got one off of Amazon. These are fairly inexpensive. I think this one was like $18 or something trivial. But I haven't gotten a chance to try it out yet. It doesn't feel overly cheap. Like, this thing probably weighs half a pound. I never did open it up. But the reason you need this is, like, if you've ever used a capture card, there's, like, delay. Like, it generally syncs the audio and video properly, but, like, there's some delay, and you can't actually, like, play with these. They claim you can, because you have, like, your signal coming in, and then, like, it gets ported to the PC with the USB, and then you have your HDMI out, and they say you can play with it, but there's enough delay that it makes the controls kind of wonky. I personally can't stand it. But, so we have this little fella. I don't know why I'm getting it out, but I'm going to get it out right now. Because we're going to have... Obviously, we're going to have our console, and then it's going to come in to the HDMI in, and then get split to two signals, one of which will go to a TV, hopefully with no delay, hopefully no input lag or anything crazy. And then the other one out to the cap card, and hopefully it all works well. Like I said, this thing feels nice, actually. Fit Tech, kind of a weird brand name, but... Airfix is the old model making kits. Huh. What's up, Joe Humberstone? Is this the first live stream you've caught? Dirtling. Yeah, I have friends that say that. Just means, like... I don't know. I don't know what the actual definition is, but... Like, turtles dirtle. You just, like, linger... slowly. I think we have enough plugs. Let me just throw this together and see if it works. Hopefully it does at least work. I've been, like, I watch all kinds of YouTube stuff, and the one guy I watch on YouTube, he did his, 1 subscriber celebration recently by streaming some NES gameplay off his NES Classic. Dirtle. Dirtle with an R. Yeah, Doodle's like drawing. Dirtle's like screwing around. Alright. So much cables. I need to get all this stuff like set up more permanently, so it's that could have been bad. Well, we have power on the console. That's a plus. Oh, it's on the TV. I don't know about the cap card. We'll cross that hurdle when we come to it, but yeah, it works on the TV. Let me plug my controller in here. I know you guys can't see that, but that's like so far away, but yeah, over on the TV it works, so at least the splitter seems to work. Let's pull, what's something... What's something here? Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. Sunday Fun Day. I don't know if anybody's played that game. Sorry, I know this looks like shit. Like it's not. Well, I'm not going to play like this. Super Mario 2. Hell yeah, it works. Sweet. Okay. Anyway. Test complete. Okay. We'll get back to that. We'll get back to that in a little bit. I just wanted to make sure the splitter kind of at least functioned. Okay. Sorry to like tantalize everybody with that. Doki Doki Panic. Yeah, that's a cool game. Cause it's that game. Anybody who doesn't know that whole story. I guess we can talk about it. There's no more appropriate time to talk about it. Anybody ever wonder why Mario 2 is significantly different than the other Marios? It's because it's basically like a reskin of a game called Doki Doki Panic. That's why it has like the weird like Arabian theme and stuff. Joe, do I have any advice for Pinda tuning? There's some things that people recommend. I think the easiest thing to do, let me see if I can find it. I cannot find it, but there's a. I think someone mentioned it. Who mentioned it? Carl Cian mentioned it. There's a like alignment tool that you can use that's Nerdville. I'll try to find it here on Thingiverse. Like anything, it's not going to get you 100% necessarily where you need your Pinda to be, but it's a fantastic like starting point in my opinion. I've seen people that had problems with it, but that's true of anything. Pinda tool? Maybe that'll bring it up. That's not it. Hopefully he still has it up. Let's see if we can just find Nerdville here on Thingiverse. I'll try to get you a link here quick. There we go. So let me link this in chat. Here's the alignment tool. I just dropped the link in chat. If you print it out, it's one of those things where you kind of need to have a functioning printer to print it. So it's kind of like a weird. Hopefully your printer like functions at least on a basic level. If you print that out, you can get fairly close. I think if you watch the stream I did, it got my live Z height a little bit closer than what I had already had it like just messing with it. True Tech, you're choppy. Hopefully it's on. I mean, it's funny to say that way. Hopefully it's on your end, not my end, because I think everything looks all right here. I use. I found one problem I had is I use virtual, not virtual desktop, where you can log into your computer from another computer. I use it upstairs sometimes, and there appears to be a memory leak in that, and it was causing me problems on this computer. Like if I'd log in with the virtual desktop upstairs and then log back out, when I'd come down here and use this computer, it was all jacked up. I would be sitting here using like 14 gigs of my 16 gigs of RAM with just Windows running. Seems to be a remote desktop, not virtual desktop. Yeah, whenever I'd use remote desktop, it messes with this computer for some reason. And I don't know if it's like a Windows 10 thing. I've had some weird problems with this PC after upgrading to Windows 10, but who knows? I just have to restart, and I did restart today, so hopefully we don't have any problems. How thick is a penny or a quarter? I don't have any on hand, but I don't know going off of memory. But no, if you just Google it, like I hate that's like such a cop out answer. But if you just Google it, there's a lot of suggestions people use. I never used any of them, honestly. They tell you to use that one point on the extruder body as like a reference for the top of the append during assembly, and that worked fairly well for me. Like I said, it'll at least get you to the point where you have like a functional printer, and then you can potentially like go print that gauge out, and it'll help you like calibrate it a little bit more closely. But what are we doing here? I need to tend to 2 minis tonight because I'm not going to get a chance to later. I need to do that quick. And I think after that, we'll go ahead and try to get the NES running. I was going to do... I need to make some of these guys. These are like proxies. I went and got washers at my hardware store that's the same size as the large bases for that game that I play. And this guy just came unglued. But I was gonna make some proxies today. These are like color laser printed paper that's two-sided that I like glue stick to cardboard, and then was gonna hot glue to the base and then do a little bit of work on the base and stuff to make nice little proxy minis, because these are from a new faction they released from the game and they want people to play test them. But my hot glue gun took a shit on me. Something happened to it and it started just like pushing, like it melted the whole stick of glue inside the gun. And whenever you try to push the stick through it, it would just like squirt out the backside. So we're going to save that for another time, because I think it is a nice technique for any of you guys who do like role playing and stuff, or just like need like cheap minis for a reason. Because I just went to a local print shop, and for a couple bucks, I took the concept art that the company released for these miniatures. It's kind of like a horror kind of... I don't know, see, like that guy's pretty freaky. But it's kind of like a horror faction, kind of weird, creepy, punny. I don't know. I personally don't like it that much, but they want people to play test it and give them feedback, so we were going to use like a bunch of these minis that I was going to proxy up, and I was going to try to do a couple of these today because it's a pretty basic process, and it's something you can use if you'd ever need to kind of have placeholders for like 3D miniatures for some reason. You know, just as like a stopgap until you have a chance to make something else. But yeah, it's kind of hard to do without hot glue gun, unfortunately, which is like the secret weapon for hobby stuff. Found 2 giant industrial grade glue guns. Yeah, mine's like not tiny. Where is that thing? Mine's not like a tiny one. Like it's a reasonably sized one, but like I said, it just started like forcing the glue out back through like where the stick comes in, and I tore it apart and cleaned it all out, but I don't actually have enough of a glue stick left to try it, since it like melted 3 of my sticks messing with it. But we'll try that on another day. For now, we're gonna do. Like I said, I have 2 guys I need to clean up, put on cork bases, and then I'm gonna prime them. But we'll do that off stream. All right. So these are the brohams in question. Guess we could also do this broham, since this is fairly quick. I never seem to know where my stuff is. Okay, knife. Cutters if we need them. I got gloves. So we'll jack our hands all up. But you saw a glue gun to 3D printer conversion on YouTube. I guess if you'd kind of get the... it is just basically like a simplified extruder. Like a really basic extruder. I always forget to take my ring off. Nobody tell my wife. I'm going to be doing this as a single man. But yeah, glue gun is just like a simplified extruder. So if you could kind of get the... I wish I still had it torn apart. Because all it basically is an assembly kind of like the extruders on our 3D printers, where there's just like this heat chamber here, and you're forcing stuff through it through a nozzle. I mean, it's a lot bigger nozzle than our printers use. But instead of using an extruder motor, it just uses this little like mechanical mechanism to push the stick in. But it's like anything with a little bit of ingenuity. Yeah, I could see kind of turning this into kind of like those pens, the 3D printing pens that people have. I thought they were, honestly, I don't know what all of you think about the 3D printing pens. I thought they were dumb as shit at first, honestly. But I was wrong, because then I started seeing things that people were making with them, and people have made some extremely cool stuff with those things. And I think one of the cool things about them is that they seem to be a fairly decent way to get younger people and like women/girls into 3D printing. There's a lot of like the crafty kind of channels where it's like young ladies and women and girls and stuff who are making stuff with these 3D printing pens, which I think is cool. Because nerds like me apparently don't appeal to them. I've talked about my what do you call that? The like my viewing stats on YouTube, and I think my audience is like 0.05% female overall. I don't like that a lot of them seem to use ABS. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but the ones that I've looked at were almost all exclusively ABS, which just worries me because they're probably kind of stinky. But yeah, I don't know. That's nitpicking, I guess. So do we have everything? All right, let's knock these out. So we've kind of talked about this before. Basing minis. Get everything situated here. And of course, I need camera controls because autofocus is the actual worst. Right about there. So I got these guys, and you see they're just kind of on like this guy's just on like a regular base. It doesn't have shit on it. We're just like glued to it. Let me see if I can get this other light here. And of course my bald ass head is like... Okay. Good enough. But you see, like, this dude is just, like, on a base. No big... Oh, no, his leg's breaking. Gotta be careful doing that. This plastic sucks, by the way. This blue plastic. Like, the nicer minis that this company makes are, like, a mix of, like, resin and plastic. And I don't really have any problems with that. But this colored plastic is, like, some shitty, like, plastic... I don't know. It's not a good... It's not good. We'll leave it at that. Because like that, I just went to like try to break this guy off the base and his legs started cracking. Not good. Sorry, we're just going to carefully use our knife. Pop him off. Clean up his feet. Because anytime you're super gluing stuff, you want as flat of a contact surface as possible. Because super glue is sweet, but it is not magic. It is still ultimately just like a mechanical bond. But so he's ready. Well, he fell apart there a little bit, but that's fine. We'll tend to that later. And then this guy's like from some of the ones I bought before. You see somebody like made a cool little cobblestone base out of like a clay kind of stuff. But we're going to throw all that away. We're going to undo all their hard work. And you can see this guy did take the time to pin these. See, it's got like a little copper... Almost looks like a tube, like he used really, really thin copper tubing or something. It's kind of weird. But we're going to break that foot loose. Yeah, he used like some really small copper tubing. I don't even know what the hell that is. But I guess we'll leave it in there. We'll try to use it on our base instead of trying to pin this guy like we're going to do the other ones. Save us a tiny little bit of time. Clean the feet off, nothing crazy. With these, just like flexing the base seems to be enough to get this off. Because this stuff doesn't actually bond to the plastic. I think it was just kind of like... I don't know. Doesn't adhere very well, but they're not bad. I wish I could use them. They just don't fit like what I'm doing with my stuff. Create a new glue variant. I did see some new glue. I've seen it a couple places because this is just like regular super glue more or less that I use. And like there's a new, it's like H2O glue or something by Gorilla Glue. I'm kind of curious, you know, how that stuff is, but I haven't tried it out. I think the thing I like the most is it's actually a bigger bottle than this. That's only like $5 because super glue is really expensive. When you kind of factor in how little you get when you buy it, it's kind of crazy how expensive it is. So again, nothing too freaking amazing. We just broke a piece of cork out. Kind of break pieces off, shape it, make it look kind of interesting. Some of these I've started to like not cover the whole base. So it gives us a little area to put like some stuff that might look cool there. And it looks like it'll work out. His foot will go in that little forward part, and then his back foot will be hanging off a little bit. Make it look kind of dynamic. But I've really been trying to super glue mixed with baby powder. I have never seen that. Concrete of the gods. I have used I have this stuff called ballast. It's what I like I used to use on the base of minis frequently. It's like a mix of a little bit of sand, some small rocks, and then like a couple different like size like ballast material from like model railroad stuff. And I even throw like little bits of cork and stuff in here. And I'll like coat the base with super glue and then just like dip the whole base in this stuff. And it's kind of weird. It releases like this noxious fume, these noxious fumes, but then gets like rock hard, which I love. Because some people use like regular like white. It's not quite Elmer's glue, but it's sort of like the same thing, sort of. But I don't like it because it doesn't get really hard. All right, so let's just slather this with glue. And then we'll set this one aside. Cover it real good. Set it on there, squish it in. And set it aside. Knocking them out. Actually, that didn't quite set up yet. It's what I kind of complained about before with this glue. It doesn't set as fast as like normal super glue that I use does, but it's really, really hard. That's what she said. I was gonna say it. I knew somebody would be on that. I use glue that hopefully hasn't congealed in storage. The first 2 bottles of this that I got from the dollar store right down the road from my house, they had actually congealed, but the dates on the bottle were new. Like they were, the expiration date was in like 3 years or something, so they shouldn't have went bad. Because I took them back and I told the lady at the counter, I was like, this super glue is bad. And she thought I meant like it didn't work as well as I'd hoped it would. Because she was like, well, you know, sometimes it doesn't work. I was like, no, it's bad. I can't get it out of the bottle. It wasn't rock hard. It was just like Jello, like a Jello consistency. So first one done. We're going to break another one out here. Again, just approximately the size of the base we're working on. This stuff's pretty good for like that. I think that's fun. For just kind of like coming out in somewhat organic looking shape that's, you know, kind of interesting or whatever. Glue it down, move along. One of these days we're going to like, my hope is to get this army completely done before too long, because there's a few like larger tournaments that I'd like to go to, and they kind of encourage you to have everything like painted and finished and stuff. Because a lot of this, like doing bases, this is kind of you know, just the beginning stages. Because I'm sure a lot of you would be more interested to see like things as they get kind of closer to completion. So we have 2 there. These guys are called Fireflies. You can see one of the first ones we did was this guy. He's a Firefly. He has like a lightning gun that when it hits dudes, it kind of like jumps to other guys nearby. These guys are really good for killing groups of infantry. And that's what you can see. That's what both of these guys are. They're both Fireflies. I love the whole theme of this. Has like kind of like a Tesla vibe. Like this guy just like shoots lightning like crazy too. He's a big cool model. Because I really am anxious to play. I think at some point, like some friends and I were thinking of making a separate channel, but I think at some point we're going to do some games on here, like maybe stream it on a day that I don't normally do something for anyone who might be interested. Especially like this guy I showed you to begin with, the faction for this. There's a lot of guys that aren't in my normal audience, but that I know and kind of know that I do YouTube, that are really anxious to see how this new faction like plays. Because it's very different to all the other factions in the game. Like, obviously, like big giant Tesla robots. And he's like from like a Freddy Krueger movie or something like that. Like 80s kind of horror kind of vibe. All right, again, we're going to try to break him off. It's part of the reason I like metal models more than most of the plastics. Just clean his feet. He seemed like he was already pretty good. Cool big dude. I love this guy. He is so fun in the game. He's really good against... There's two different stats that things usually have. Like, there's your defense and your armor. And defense is generally, like, how hard you are to hit. And then, obviously, armor is, like, how tough you are when you are hit. He is fantastic at killing guys that have an extremely high defense. Because he has an attack that automatically hits everything within 6 inches of him. And then you can shoot more attacks that automatically hit things you've already hit. So you just, like, completely circumvent, like, the whole defense thing that some of the, like, really high defense guys have. Because in general, if you have a really high defense, you usually have, like, fairly crappy armor. So he kind of just, like, eats those guys alive. Which is kind of handy. All right, there's another piece of that, like, copper tubing. I wonder why he would have used tubing that small. That's such, like, a specialty item, it seems like. Wow, did that ever fly? Holy crap. And that piece didn't do anything. Same deal, gonna break some cork. Not being too particular. This is, like, I found things like this, if I start worrying about it too much, I start to really overthink it. When, you know, ultimately, when it's all said and done, it doesn't really make much of a difference. Good to go. Approximately the size of our base. Kind of cool. I think we'll break a little bit. See, I just said that. Now I'm, like, picking. Do something like that on the front. Give us a little area or something that's kind of interesting. Something, something. And glue her down. Because it's nice to have little places like that. Like, I can put, like, a skull or some little piece of metal crap in there or something. Just a little extra detail. That'll make the model look interesting when it's painted. Same deal. Slathering glue on here like a madman. I got a ton of glue on that one. And plop it on there. And then, like I said, with this glue, we have to hold it down for a little bit longer. It's a rivet. Maybe it was a little rivet, actually. Some people recommend keeping Gorilla... Well, this isn't... I mean, it could be the case with this, but this isn't actually Gorilla Glue. It's just, like, Gorilla Brand. I don't think it's, like, the same formula as the actual, like, Gorilla Glue. But does anybody here do, like, miniature gaming? Like, I know a couple people have messaged me that are kind of interested in it a little bit since I've started doing a little bit of this stuff. Because it's a tough hobby for me to recommend. It's a ton of fun if you're into, like, strategic games. It's part of the reason it's so addictive to me. Like, I'm the kind of personality that I love chess. I love games with, like, well-defined sets of rules that, you know, being good at the game is based on, like, understanding the rules and being able to, like, manipulate them and use them to your advantage and stuff. And for the most part, like, miniature gaming is kind of like the epitome of that. Yeah, there's Thorin. I know he does. I mean, there are dice. Dice are part of, like, miniature gaming, which kind of is the opposite of what I was just saying. Yeah, dice is like the epitome of random. But it's a lot of fun. It's a whole lot of fun. Thorin, as a matter of fact, since I haven't talked to you in a while, we're both part of, like, well, him more so than me, But we're both part of a gaming group that I think is supposed to meet this Saturday, if I'm not mistaken. And there is a chance that Thorin and I, if he is interested, might be playing this game on Saturday. Because I think he has, if I'm not mistaken, Daryl, don't you have some of the troll guys? Because I think last time we saw each other, I had the kind of robot guys, which I can bring along if you'd want to try them out. But these are different dudes. These are like Signar, they're called. And I play like the all lightning all the time list. With because you have like a general that's called a warcaster, and I play the guy that's basically like he's like a Tesla analog. Like he's just a lightning lunatic kind of. Ah, Daryl's not going to be there this weekend. Shame on you, sir. We have a friend called Matt, who we called Dam, D-A-M, for a reason that Daryl will remember, and he was just at my, like our local gaming shop here where I live, and he picked up one of the faction starter boxes, and he's actually going to start playing this game, which is kind of cool. Because the more the merrier with wargaming. That's why who said that? Joe said he doesn't have anybody to do it with. That can be a problem with miniature gaming. Because it's one of the things I don't like is, you know, here I am sitting with all my, like, robot dudes, and unless someone, like, physically meets up with me, you can't play, which kind of sucks. You know, you compare that to, like, online gaming, and it's like you can be up at, you know, 3:30 a.m. in the morning, and if you feel like playing, there's going to be somebody there to play with you if you jump online, which is hard to beat. Definitely hard to beat. And then, like, miniature gaming like this, it's kind of a community-based thing, and, you know, sometimes, like, the community will just die for whatever reason, like people move into another game or just don't feel like playing anymore. Or, like, some of the communities I've been involved in, they just start to decide play Magic again and drop, like, the mini-gaming for whatever reason. Tabletop sim. Yeah, I've seen some people that do miniature gaming via, like, digital virtual tabletops and stuff like that, which is kind of cool. P.S. I'm here for the MK2. I think most people are Mac. I think a lot of people are just, like, tolerating my hobby stuff for now. Like I said, I want to stick with it, and hopefully we'll develop like a little secondary community here, which I think would be cool for everybody. Because I think a lot of especially the tabletop guys are very amenable to the whole 3D printing scene. Like, all the guys at my local hobby shop are totally into it. They want me to print stuff for them all the time. So I think there's a lot of potential there, because I think both communities are comprised of like-minded people for the most part. I mean, that's obviously not always the case, but okay, so we got 4 bases. Like I said, we're not gonna screw around too much here. We got 4 bases for our 4 guys. The only one that's kind of obligated to go on a particular base is our big bro fist here, who has some big-ass feet. I never realized how big his freaking feet are. They are humongous. And I think he wants to sit on there something like that, which is going to leave his foot hanging off the back a little bit, but I guess that's fine. Like we talked about in the previous thing, the biggest thing for me, and I'm a little anal about it, is making sure that, like, the overall, like, bulk of the model is centered properly in the base, so it's not hanging off. I mean, it's hard to, like, not have this guy hanging off when he's freaking air fisting there in the front so bad. But we'll still do our best. It looks like he's going to be on there something like that. I know that's not directly under the camera, but something like that looks reasonable. Oh, Settlers of Catan. Yeah, I've seen guys that have like 3D printed the whole set. Again, I don't know why. It makes me feel like a failure that I've owned a 3D printer for like as long as I have, and I haven't printed some of that stuff out. It's so sweet. Because if you do that, if you print the pieces out and then do like a little bit of painting and stuff, they really turn out amazing. And that makes an already amazing game even more amazing. So again, we're going to pin this guy. Same stuff as last time. We have a little thing called a pin vise with a tiny little drill bit in it. And it's just made so that you can hold on to it. Do some drilling. And we're going to drill a little hole in his foot. He's already got that hole from before, but it's too big to use the brass rod and stuff that I happen to have. So we're just going to drill a hole in his foot. Luckily, this stuff's called white metal. I don't know exactly what it's called or made out of. They used to be like almost pure pewter. But I don't actually know if that's the case anymore, probably. But yeah, if nobody's played or seen Settlers of Catan, check it out. There's a whole world of like adult board games that are geared towards like adults. And that is a fantastic like entry level game to kind of pop people's cherry into the adult gaming world. Because adult games are a lot of fun. And it's not like people misunderstand adult. It's not like sexual games or anything like that. It's just games that aren't like Monopoly or Sorry or Candyland or all the things that are really geared towards like younger people. A lot of them are economic games where you have to do like a lot of thinking and planning and resource management. But yeah, they're a lot of fun, especially if you sit and have a big group of people. Maybe a little bit of alcohol involved. Makes things a lot of fun. It's one thing that I love about our local hobby shop. Like Daryl, I don't know if you ever have a chance, but you should stop down sometime, because they don't mind if we drink in there, which is kind of shocking to me. It's kind of shocking that they allow drinking in there, but they don't care. So anymore, like we kind of have a rotation. Like this, it's my turn now. I'll probably bring a few 6-packs tonight when I show up, and we just drink a couple beers and play a couple games. It is really hard to not have a good time in that environment. All right, so kind of got to help this in here. I probably should have drilled those a little bit deeper, but we already put glue in there, so let's kind of go with what we have here. Probably, I think I do need to drill that a little deeper. Had a weak hole. All right, that should be good. And we'll make this one a little deeper. I guess this is like one of the times where it's an advantage that this glue set's kind of slow, because it actually isn't hurting anything. I just make sure to wipe it off my bit. And then we'll throw our piece back in here, and it's still got glue in it. Good to go. And again, in the interest of time, we're going to let him sit there to the side with rods in his feet. Give that a second to dry, and then we'll put him on his base. This guy I said we're going to use because this is going to be going into the cork. So, again, just trying to eyeball approximately where he's going to go on this base. And you kind of make note of where that pin is going to be. Press it in a little bit. It'll leave an indent in the cork. You can see there. And for this hole, since it's a little big, I'm just going to take my knife and sort of twist a hole there in the cork, which is going to weaken it. Like, it's going to weaken that outside a little bit, but we're going to soak the whole edge in glue. So it shouldn't really be a problem. But doing this, like pinning these to the base makes a big difference. Like if this guy ever gets knocked or bumped or anything, he's not going to pop off the base and pull like a big chunk of the cork out with it. Unfortunately, more than likely, one of his ankles will break. Which I don't think is like an advantage, but that is what's going to happen. At least it won't screw the base all up, I guess. Generous amount of glue. All over the pin, all over his feet. Luckily with these, it's going to have like a grass effect around his feet, so it doesn't really matter if we have a little bit of glue that pulls up and pushes out. There we go. See his feet are flat against the base. Pin goes in the hole, no problems. And just a little more scenic than if we hadn't done that. And like I said, these look like kind of mediocre right now, honestly. But when we eventually, a few weeks down the line, when I'm finally getting all these guys painted and the bases finished and stuff, you'll really see the payoff for taking this little bit of extra time. It really is worth the bother. I actually think his pin's a little long. It's sticking down. It's pushing his foot up, so we're going to trim a little bit off of that. Little bastard. And he's wanting to lean a little bit, so we're going to have to use some of our magic stuff. Again, this stuff's called Kicker. It's just like Super Glue Accelerator. And believe it or not, Daryl, this is probably from when we were like basically kids at the old hobby shop. This thing's probably at least 15 years old. And it has such like a weird smell. Like if you're ever near this stuff, it has like, I totally want to taste it. It has such like a sweet smell to it. It smells like it would be delicious. I do not think it probably is. Frustration. Yahtzee. Yeah, like, see, those are kids' games. I mean, it's not to say that they can't be fun, but like a lot of those games, you don't really have to think that much. And a lot of those games, what's a game that's a good example of that? Like Life, the game of Life. I'm sure a lot of you have played that, and there are almost literally zero decisions that you actually make in that game that have any impact on how it plays out. You're basically like generating a random number, doing something that you have no control over, and then your turn ends. And like I said, it's not that you can't have fun doing that, but there's so much more potential for like a game than a lot of the like classic Milton Bradley games kind of really tap into. Like a modern Bob Ross. I don't think so. He has talent. I'm just kind of doing stuff. And again, drilling a foot. We're going to glue the hole. Shake our glue. Dab a little glue in the hole, stick the rod in. That one was plenty deep. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this one off because it's not going to come out. Because that one's real deep. He is good to go. All right. Now, this, I don't think this base is going to fit. Well, maybe he will fit on here okay. See, because the stance of some of these guys, like his feet are kind of far apart. And then the other guy we have, his feet are kind of close. And I think this guy's going to work out better on this, where the piece of cork is kind of set back. I think he's going to work out better on this one. Show you in a second. Some of these models come with like a stud on the bottom that's, you can see it's cast into the metal. We'll go ahead and use that. We won't cut that off. And you can see we pressed it into the cork. And we'll do the same thing we did with the other guy. We're just basically going to remove some of this material in there. Nothing too fancy. Just to kind of make room for that in the base. And then we'll saturate that whole area with glue. And that should hold pretty well. Because they're kind of made, like some of these bases have these little holes where you can basically cut these out and then stick that stud in there, and it's like how they kind of encourage you to make sure they're stuck to the base, but that won't really work since we have cork on the top. But pretty straightforward. See there, we cut a hole out. We're going to saturate it with glue. Glue both of his feet really well. And this model will take, I mean, I might come back and like glue him again around his feet, because this model weighs significantly more than these plastic ones. Like he probably weighs 5 or 6 times more because he's solid pewter. Every piece of him is metal. So obviously, if he ever gets dropped or something, the amount of force that's going to be exerted on the base and stuff is going to be significantly higher. And again, from the top view, see, we just like want to center his mass on the base so he's not hanging off or looking stupid. But see, he's kind of cool. He's like standing at the edge of our thing. Gives us some room to put like something interesting there on the front of the base. Maybe some skulls or a skeleton. Dremel out the cork. We don't need to get the Dremel out for this, True Tech. This is going to be a Dremel-free day. There's going to be no blood on stream. Everybody's going to leave with all their phalanges intact. All right, well, not last dude here, but same deal. We're going to kind of center him on the base. And like the centering gets kind of weird, like with guys like this, with this big-ass spear that kind of like sticks out the front and back of the model. Like, you kind of want to factor that in when you're centering their mass on the base, but at the same time, like, we don't want him to, like, be all offset and look stupid just to kind of, like, accommodate the extra spear overhang. So it's kind of hard to strike that balance sometimes. And we marked our hole. We're going to drill it down through the plastic, because this one should go down into the plastic this time, I think. And these ones always hold the best, but the plastic guys aren't too bad. Like I said, if we ever drop these guys, their ankles are probably going to break, if anything breaks. Well, and the spears and stuff obviously always break. But you like the Dremel. We'll have to do a Dremel day. See if I can end it with all my fingers intact. Again, glue, glue, glue. Just kind of slop it on there like a crazy person. Line him up in our little socket hole we made. And rotate him until he looks centered. Looks pretty good. I think our pin didn't go the whole way down in to the plastic of the base. But that's fine. And this one, I think, because I want it in a very particular position, it wants to wobble a little bit. We'll go ahead and hit it with the kicker. And then you see some places like this foot has like a very kind of tentative grasp on the edge of that. I mean, his toe's up there on the cork pretty good, so it doesn't look weird, like he should be falling off of there. But when we soak the edge of this cork in glue, we're going to make sure like we really, make sure that that area is saturated well and hardens up nice. All right. The chrome spray. I do want to use the chrome spray. So I have all these robot guys. This was the faction that I used to play. And most people just kind of like dry brush these silver. But I want to strip all these guys down. Like I want to strip all this silver off. And paint them with a chrome spray. And then go over them all with like a black ink, which will like accentuate all the details and stuff. And then take the airbrush and like all these places where there's supposed to be lights, like hit it with a soft purple to make it look like it's glowing. And just do like a really quick and dirty paint job on these that make it look like really sweet, like all glowing and stuff. Because I have painted some of these. This was one of the test guys I did where I tried to like weather him and make them all look like oxidized. Like you can see the attempts I made to like make the brass oxidized looking and stuff. And it doesn't look terrible, but this guy ended up being a bit of a hot mess because I was trying like a bunch of different techniques all in like a very tight space. But some of the effects turned out okay. Like for instance, like in the crack here, like the rust effect and the rust effect up around these areas, I think looks okay. But overall, I think it looks kind of mediocre. I don't know. Plus, it takes a lot of time. And like I don't mind spending time on models, but these guys aesthetically aren't all that interesting to me, like the robot dudes. So like some of the models are cool. Like I have this huge dude who is kind of a cool model. And like I didn't paint this, someone else painted this like before I bought it. And it looks okay, especially like on the table. Like if you look on the little cam, like when you're seeing this like 3 feet away or so, he looks okay. But I don't know. Like I said, to me aesthetically, these dudes just don't look that cool. So I don't want to spend a whole lot of time painting them and stuff, unfortunately. But like these guys, like I'm probably gonna spend a ton of time painting this dude. Some people find it shocking, but I wouldn't be surprised if I have, when it's all said and done, probably 20 or 30 hours over the course of several weeks. Like just a little bit of time here and there, like painting a guy like this. Because you just do like all your basic painting and then you just like do a little bit of detailing. And you can play with him the whole time. Like, I'll still be playing with him every week. But you just keep coming back and hitting some more details and, like, refining areas here and there. And this guy is not fitting on here, all that great. It looks like his foot's going to have to hang out over the front a little bit, which I don't love. His stance is so wide, I wish we kind of would have used a bigger piece of cork. I guess he doesn't look bad there. We'll give that a try. But his foot's kind of hanging off. I think we're going to... I can use this base for other guys, but I think I'm going to grab another big base, and we're going to put a slightly bigger piece of cork on here for him. I didn't realize his feet were so far apart. So I have this is like an infantry cannon, and we're gonna steal his base. We're gonna snap these guys off. And somebody pinned this freaking guy to the base for some reason. That was somewhat unnecessary. Yeah, that's kind of crazy that somebody pinned him. Holy crap. Hopefully I'm not about to bleed my blood here, because I'm really prying on that. There we go. He actually pulled some of the plastic off the base, but that's fine, because we're going to cover it all up. Fix that little bit of glue mark on the edge. Smooth it out a bit. That, like, I use that technique more than almost anything in modeling. Like, taking your blade, holding it flat against, and just, like, dragging it back across like that. Because it's so easy to smooth things. Like, and I do that with prints, too. Like, 3D prints. Because you have really good control over the amount of pressure you use. So like that, we can work that down and get like a fairly smooth finish when it's all said and done. And like there was a big glob of glue there before, but now it's smoothed out pretty well. But I use that a lot on 3D prints where you have like mold lines and stuff. Not mold lines, but you know what I mean? Like print lines. You sent an X-Acto on your thumbnail. I've done that before. That is not pleasant. There is a reason different groups have used the fingernail area for torture purposes. That is an exceptionally sensitive area of the body. All right, so like I said, this time we're gonna get a pretty big piece of cork here, and make sure we really give ourselves some area to sort of tend to his feet. That looks a lot better. You can see compared to the other one, like we're kind of inside the edges of the base. And this one we're kind of overhanging basically everywhere, just a little bit. That should give us a much better platform to mount this guy. And again, we're just going to slather this with glue. Because there's no reason not to. And we do kind of want to front. We're going to... It looks like this part of this edge is the cleanest. So we're going to kind of use that as our face. And make sure we're centered. Push the crumbs aside. And press it here for a minute or so. we can stop talking about this. It's been a while since I cut myself really bad. The worst one I've had recently, which was, I don't know, about 6 months ago. It doesn't look that bad, but yeah, I mean, you can hardly see the scar, but I have a scar there. I was using, like, I think they're called spade bits for cutting through wood. They're those big flat drill bits that you bore holes. And I was drilling a hole through a piece of, like, timber. It was like a 2-inch spade bit. And it jumped out of the hole and kind of, like, caught. And it has those, like, leader, like, scoring things on the edges. And it stabbed me in the wrist, and it started bleeding, like, so bad. And it hurt, like, way more than I would have expected it to. But it genuinely freaked my wife out. Like, there was, like, a stream. Like, it was actually, like, squirting out of my wrist, because I thought I was going to have to go to the emergency room. I started to go into shock a little bit, which I normally don't do unless something's really bad. But that freaked me out because I was afraid. I didn't think I was going to be able to get it to stop bleeding. I thought I must have hit a vein or something. But after it did bleed for almost 15 minutes, but after 15 minutes, it finally kind of closed up a little bit. Lego brick, it's a little tough, but you were at the right place to learn how to do that stuff. No, I mean, I don't mean like here. I can't teach you shit, but YouTube is fantastic. Just like if you just watch some tutorials that are geared towards like new people, like entry level stuff. If you stick with it a little bit, you'll be knocking stuff out that will kind of surprise you before you realize it. Because I have some friends that were kind of like hesitant to get started in things like Blender and ZBrush and stuff, and man, once you get a like grasp of the basics, you can really just like hit the ground running. All right, this works out a lot better. And he looks pretty good on there. We marked our little holes. We're going to drill them out. All right, and we're basically done. Like, thanks for bearing with me, guys. Because like I said, I really needed to get this done, and I don't have a lot of time. Unfortunately, most of my free time lines up with like time that I have to stream because it's my free time to do things. And I end up never getting stuff like this done. And it's hard to move on to like painting these guys and stuff when I don't have the bases ready. And same deal, we're going to give it a little squirt of magic here. Very sweet. This guy's name is Thunderhead. Thunderhead is on a cork base, and he looks pretty sweet. See, he's centered on there nice. Was big as his as nicely as his big ass arms and feet and stuff can be, I guess. And then we're gonna go back through here and do like we did the last time we did this. We're gonna get our glue, like hold it for a second and make sure we have all the glue down at the tip. And then we're going to go around the edges of all this stuff and saturate this cork with glue. And be a little heavy-handed with it. Because we want this glue to absorb in there. And you see we got some on the lip there. You always want to go back and wipe that so you don't end up with like if you'd let that dry there, you'd see where that glue was because it's going to be raised a little bit. I got some there too, damn it. But yeah, if we saturate the edge of this cork with glue, it's not going to be nearly as likely to break off later if it gets bumped or brushed up against. Which, like, before we... oh my god, Stuttering Stanley. Before we paint it, it's not too big of a deal. But, like, after we get paint on this base and finish it and stuff, if part of the cork breaks off, we're just going to see cork underneath. Which is not what we're looking for. Again, to saturate the whole freaking thing. Maybe I should approach this more like Bob Ross. Those are just happy little mistakes. Happy little blobs. Talk about where they live. This little blob lives here. He's got a happy little blob family. Comes home to his blob wife after his blob day at his blob job. Blob job. Does anybody here watch Arrested Development? Makes me think of Bob Loblaw. One of the characters in that. All right, it's starting to stink in here. Starting to get that, like, because super glue burns your eyes pretty bad if you're close to it. My eyes are starting to water a bit. All right, there's that guy done. That's 3 of the 4. This last one is Big Thunderdome here. And you do go through a fair amount of super glue. Like, this is a fairly big bottle. This is a, well, I say that, it's 0.53 ounces. But for super glue, this is a big bottle. And we are hitting this bottle pretty hard doing these 4 bases. All right, so we did the sides, and then I don't know if you noticed on the other ones, we're gonna catch the top edge of this too, so we kind of encapsulate the whole edge of that cork in glue, and it makes a big difference over the lifetime of the model, like how well this base will wear, touching other stuff. Because like I'm fairly careful with my minis, but like say you're playing an opponent and this guy ends up like fighting someone, your opponent's going to be here like pushing his base up against your guy, and like, yeah. Some people aren't as careful with their stuff as you might be with your own stuff. So there we go, 4 dudes. We have 2 more of our Fireflies. We have Thunderdome. And this guy also, I didn't talk about him at all. This guy is freaking, like, the model's kind of mediocre. It's not my favorite. His arm's in kind of a weird posture there. But in the game, this guy is unbelievably amazing. For a number of reasons. But, alright, we're going to set those guys aside. We're going to get our crap cleaned up here. We have concluded the hobby portion of our stream today. So we're going to get stuff cleaned up. And we're going to try to get our retro AVS hooked up into OBS. And hopefully that all happens without crashing my computer. Are those all metal, Nilla? There's like a mix. Like, these guys are that crappy plastic I was telling you about. They went to colored plastic, like these, this faction, they're blue, and like there's another faction that's red, and there's one that's like off-white, and it's each of the colors you can tell is a slightly different mix and has like slightly different properties, which I hate. This blue is, you know how like PLA has like a high tensile strength, but then it will shatter basically instead of bending. This plastic's kind of like the opposite of that. Like, it's fairly tough, but when it does, like if you do bend something, it's ruined. Like, it'll get white. Like, you can see this spear actually broke off, and it was kind of a pain, but I took our little pin vise and I put a piece of brass rod in there. But this isn't too bad. And then there's like these models where like all of these little things are pewter, and then the plastic is actually like a resin. And there's actually like 3 different materials on this guy, because you have the pewter, like some regular kind of plastics in the center torso, and then a lot of the highly detailed pieces are like resin. And then, yeah, like this dude is 100% pewter. Like literally every piece of him is cast pewter, because he weighs like I don't know, 3/4 of a pound, half a pound. Is there anybody here that has any, like, because I have a lot of experience coding games, but no like commercial experience. I guess we've never really talked about it too much, but I've actually completed several game demos. Let me see if I can find my phone. Because I'm like a lot of people. I just kind of do this like for my own entertainment, so I never really get to show anything off, except to like a handful of people. So let's set this to the side. We'll keep all our crumbs on our sheet here. Just bring a clean sheet in and take my gloves off. So my screen protector is dirty. But I'll show you, like, I have 1 or 2 games, I think, on here that I made. This was a stupid app. If anybody's ever seen anybody that can, it's more or less like a party trick, but it's based on math. Let me take my case off, because my screen protector is dirty as hell. Arthur Benjamin. Has anybody ever heard of Arthur Benjamin? He's the Mathemagics guy. He does, like, presentations where he does, like, math stuff in his head. Like, for instance, he'll multiply a 6-digit number by a 6-digit number in his head live. Which is, I don't know if some of you probably don't realize, like, how unbelievable that is. But, right, so this is a program I made that it's fairly simple. It's an Android app that you can generate a date, because it's one of the things that he does. You can, like, tell someone the day of the week that a date is on, if you know how to do a little bit of math in your head. But it generates a date, right? It generates, like, random dates, and it tells you if it's a leap year or not, which is kind of cheating because you need to figure that out yourself. Generates dates, and then if you hit reveal, it exposes, like, the math that you should be doing to figure out what day of the week it is. So, like, that's 3 is the offset for the month of June, 16 is the date, 5 is the year offset that you have to use for certain year ranges, and then 8 is the year plus 25%. And you have to learn to do this all in your head, which is a little bit tricky. So the numbers you should be coming up with is 32, which is all these numbers added together, and then the nearest multiple of 7 to that number, and then you need to subtract them. So 32 minus 28 would be 4, and if you hit reveal again, it'll actually show you the day of the week it should be, which is a Thursday. Which I know. I'm actually pretty good at doing that. I have to do that on stream sometime where people give me dates and I'll tell you what day of the week it is. But that was an app I made. Kind of dumb. I made my daughter. She likes playing Wacky Gator, so I made her a copy of Wacky Gator, where it's just like the alligators go across, and if you, like, touch them before they get to the screen, it, like, makes them go back. But I made that game. Pretty basic, but it works. It totally works. She loves it. And then one of the games that I spent, because I did, like, I've done PC games as well, but, like, I started experimenting with, like, doing mobile games. Like, I also completely coded this game, which I know is a little bit hard to see, but you have, like, 2 thumb joysticks here with this little, like, spaceship that you can move the ship around, and it has a rotatable turret and stuff, which, like, this rotates at one direction, and then you have a fire button. But I know it's tough to see, but there's all kinds of, like, upgrades you can get for your ship. Like, you see it has a little purple force field around it, and then there's, like, little turrets on each corner that are shooting those things at, like, ships that pass by. And then you have, like, laser anti-missile systems that will shoot the torpedoes and stuff that the little bad guys shoot at you as they pass. And again, this was just like a, basically like a proof of concept. All the terrain is destroyable. Like if I shoot this stuff, all the space terrain, it's all destroyable and stuff, but yeah, that was actually fairly old. I probably made that 6 or 8 years ago, I would say. Because there's some games that have come out that are basically the same concept, because it's like the whole idea of that was that it's like an infinite space exploration game where there isn't like a fixed like game world. It literally just like will generate an infinite amount of stuff if you keep like traveling in any particular direction. But Zapal, I think you can tell the day. Well, it's not the day, it's the day of the week. That's the trick. And the whole idea is you need to do it in person without reference. Like, say I was born on like October 28th. Like, what day of the week? Well, you do have to know the year too, because the Gregorian calendar is kind of weird. But anyway, I just pulled more stuff off. So let me shift this around. Let's move to the next stage of our adventure here. All right. Let's play some Nintendo. So, does anybody have like a favorite NES game? Like, one of mine was I always loved to play Contra. That was always a cool game to me. Obviously, like the Super Marios are pretty solid games. Let's get this guy. Let's get our aesthetics sorted out here. We need to move our robot guys. We're looking like some aesthetic garbage here. Where's them production values at? Tweak it. We gotta tweak it. I can't center stuff to a camera to save my life. It's ridiculous. All right. Let's adjust some focus here. This freaking camera, like, the focus is so kind of jumpy. Okay, good enough. Right, so there's our console. Stuff and things. Now the part that kind of scares me is trying to get OBS to play nice with this thing. Because I have my capture card here. Again, we'll try to keep our visual game nice and tight. I got robots coated in super glue touching stuff. That's not good. Get out of here, guys. All right. Does nobody have... Do I have a TurboGrafx? I used to. It's a really cool system. It wasn't really my thing. Like, I had no nostalgia for it. And, like, any system like that... I don't know. Any system like that, I'm just kind of like, meh. HDMI out. Oh, we don't actually need the out. We need the in. All right. I just want to have this set up here because people are inevitably going to, like, come in and ask what the F we're doing. And I can switch cameras and be like, this is what the F we're doing. All right, so all of our cables are connected. Now, how the hell do we get OBS to like this thing? That's the question. Video capture device? Surely it's not that easy. Damn it. Sorry, guys. uh, I'm kind of not surprised. Hopefully, is the stream back up? This is maybe not the I don't know. I don't know if the stream's up or not. Hopefully it is. Are we live? Are you alive? Is everyone alive? Oh, so we did. Okay, I like OBS is shitting the bed right now. Let's try to recover here. But I know the Elgato. I don't know. I had problems with the Elgato before, and you see it like reset all my cam settings and stuff. Oh man, good times. So bright, so much bright. Thanks for stopping by, Lego Brick, and I apologize to anyone in advance if this. Let's switch to that for now. We'll try to make do with this for now. I'm trying. Apparently, the Elgato wants to update. All right, let's try this. I have like all this stuff in my face. I can't see. Earl, did I get the factory file sent? I did. I didn't get a chance to test it. I haven't actually, again, like I haven't had a chance to print anything since we did a few things on stream. We haven't really, I guess there's no reason not to talk about it, but my wife is pregnant. She's like super pregnant now. And we've had a lot of like doctor's appointments and stuff. So a lot of the time I normally have free, like we've been going to the doctors and doing all that kind of stuff. So yeah, we're going to be a family of 4 here very, very shortly. Yeah, I know it's funny. She laughs when I say it that way. She is very pregnant. She wasn't showing for a long time, but now she's to the point where, like, she was talking about the other day, where these lumps are now, like, resting on this lump. And it's kind of funny. She always says, like, how weird it is to feel the two touching. But, all right, we're going to try this. This might be the kind of thing, it's not very late in the day. So, if OBS is, like, completely not going to cooperate, I'll probably drop the stream, grab some food, try to work out some of the technical problems, and then jump back on in a little bit. So, the wave is 3D slowly printing a baby. Yeah, it's kind of cool. Like, I don't know if any of you guys deal with that. Like, people always act weird when you bring up, like, 3D printing. They're all, like, everyone I've ever talked to is, like, just super, like, mind-blown, amazing, or amazed. Like, don't understand it. Like, some of the things I've had people say about 3D printing, like, what they think it is or thought it was about and stuff like that, is always amusing to me. Bean's been dipping. I've dipped a few times. But no, I forget. We just had an appointment yesterday. I forget how far along she is. She's pretty far along. I think the due date is in the beginning of May. March, April, May. Yeah, I think it's the beginning of May. I think she has 13 weeks left. So yeah, it's not going to be too long. And there's going to be abrupt changes in my life. And it, like, I'm looking forward to it, but at the same time, it kind of sucks because, like, our sleep schedule has just started to get normal again. Like, my daughter Carly, has just started sleeping through the night. I mean, she slept through the night for a while, but she's like just now like reliably doing it where she doesn't wake up in the middle of the night all the time and stuff. Okay, so which cam is that? This camera apparently doesn't want to do anything now. For some reason. Hello? For some reason, they're both registering as the same camera. So yeah, we might have to do that. I'll try one more time to activate this in OBS. And if it immediately takes a shit again, like I said, I'll pop the stream back up. Or maybe I should just do that preemptively. I'll probably take like a half-hour break here, try to work out the technical difficulties. We'll try to get, or let's try one more thing here. Let's try running the Elgato capture utility separately, because maybe I'll have to do that. And I think I have the cables hooked up correctly. Game capture HD. Definitely not trying to capture S-video. It's thinking about it. Okay, progress. We made progress. So this is on my desktop, obviously. So here's the capture thing, and we have, like, it's capturing. I don't know if it's capturing the audio. Convert to standard. We don't need to convert shit. It's 1080p, man. All right, let's see if it's capturing the sound. It's probably not. Let's get a random game here. Again, we'll pull up like Mario 3 or something that everybody knows. Something that Nintendo will like immediately flag us for. It's assholes. Or no, let's get a Konami game. Maybe they won't flag that. Yeah, let's try some Contra. Save money by 3D printing all their GIFs. Yeah, I don't think it's capturing the audio for whatever reason. I don't know if you can hear, like, the TV's capturing audio. But it's kind of weird. I can't look at my screen. There's so much delay. There's, like, 2-second delay for the capture card. But you can see it captures, like, crystal clear 720p. Which is sweet. Like, I don't know how that looks on stream. Like, on my LCD, it looks amazing. Which normally you have to use, like, an emulator to get video this good. Because normally, like, an NES only puts out composite video, which is kind of terrible. Yeah, I made the first bridge. Nobody makes the second bridge. No. But it works. Like I said, I guess we made some progress. Hopefully I can get that. Really? Really? Come on. Oh, what a tease. That's such a tease. Like, I'm like a pixel below it. Like, it looks like my guy's touching it. Come on. My foot touched it. That's not right. Oh, and I missed that one. That's like that's the stupid gun, though. Nobody likes that gun. I suck at this game. This is terrible. Okay, so maybe we need to have this utility running to do this. I don't know. I don't know if anybody in chat happens to have done this before, but it's definitely kind of new to me. I've recorded before. That's not what we want. That is definitely not what we want. So we're gonna try this again.